Welcome back to the channel. So right now we're going to be talking about how to use all of your loadouts properly. So most of the time you only use about 2 or 3 loadouts. That's going to be your overkill loadout. Maybe you have like a backup loadout or a different loadout that you want to use for fun. And then you have one with your perks, your temper, ghost, or whatever else you're running. So we're going to take a really good look at how each should be labeled, the order that they should be in, and it's not focusing too much on the particular guns that you're going to be using because those are going to change with the meta. Any YouTuber is going to talk about like which gun you should be running, but we're going to look at exactly how they should be structured within your loadout screen. So let's get into it. Start the loadout list. A lot of it is going to look very weird. Most of this hasn't been making any sense. I've just been using it for whatever, but I'm going to go through it. We're going to build these loadouts properly, and I'm going to take off all of the ones that are kind of garbage, and we'll talk about it. So let's see. Right here we got the Iron Trials loadout. So this, obviously this is one particular mode that it's like a limited time mode, so this wouldn't be something that's going to be permanent, so I'm going to take that off. Let me take this one off. MP5 Thermal, very fun class to run, with restock smokes. Agra MP5. All right, I'll leave that one. Okay, and then I'll take this one off. Okay, so let's assume, because I know that with your favorite, when you set one as favorite, it's going to change it up a little bit. So let's just set the primary one. Let's set the first one as favorite, just for the sake of argument right now. Let me see. I'll leave this one for a second. Okay. So normally what you would do when you have your primary, you'll have your first loadout that you're going to grab. It's going to be an overkill class. It's almost always going to be a sniper. So let's just be frank. It's going to be a Car 98 or a Swiss. I'm not going to build it out. I'm sure y'all know how to build out Car 98s. SMGs, let's go with the standard right now. Sorry, forgive my dog for barking. We're gonna go for a well gun. Okay, so y'all know how to build a Car 98. I'm gonna put the standard for SMG, which is a Owen. Sorry, not an Owen. What am I thinking? Well gun. I do not have it unlocked. Interesting. Okay. Obviously, it'll be a well gun. You can put a brand, although the brand I'm sure is going to get nerfed soon. But it's an overkill class. You just put a short range, long range, nothing much to it. If you're going to use Modern Warfare or Cold War guns, you put amped. If not, you put tape gripped or speed gripped or whatever it is, combat scout, and whatever perk that you want. There's really not much to it. If you're going to be running these, if you can put like maybe like a heartbeat sensor or a stim shot, and then here's where we're starting to get interesting. Maybe we can come back to that. I'm going to leave it at this for now, but it's a standard overkill class. There's nothing much to it. Let's go ahead and name that overkill. Now, let's go to the next one. Once you get your overkill class, what you're going to have is the exact same class with a restock, tempered, high alert, ghost. Y'all know the drill. Let's just go ahead and put tempered. This is going to have your same gun usually, but here's where we start to like be a little bit more particular on what we're actually running. What you want to do is if you have a secondary that's a pistol, is put fully loaded. Obviously that gives you a little bit more benefit, because you can drop your ammo on the ground, pick up your fully loaded pistol, and you'll already have the SMG plus extra SMG that you dropped on the ground. Now, say for instance we're running this. We're running SMG with an LMG or something. So we got SMG with a brand. Is the brand here? Yeah, SMG with a brand. What we can do is when we grab the second loadout with the tempered, we can throw in, instead of an SMG, throw in an extra piece of equipment. So throw in a riot shield, throw in maybe like a sniper rifle. So let's go with the Car 98. Yeah, I don't want to waste my time building these out. So the reason why we're doing this is you got your SMG, you got your LMG, or whatever else you're going to be running. When you grab your tempered class, you have an opportunity to grab extra equipment. I'm not saying that you necessarily want to take advantage of this, but if you are going to grab a second loadout, then you may want to take advantage of this. Second loadout, free. Okay. Now I'm going to be very deliberate about what we're going to be naming these, because you want to maximize how much equipment you're going to be getting from these loadouts. If you buy your first loadout and then you're able to get to your second loadout freely, then you want to be able to make the most of your equipment, especially if you're not going to be rotating too far. So you'd have, you know, the perk that you want for your second perk because you had overkill in the first one, and then you'd have more equipment. Now, this is where we're starting to get to that interesting part. Say, for instance, you have a throwing knife, right? Because you want to run throwing knives. What you can do is, when you grab this next loadout, have a piece of equipment, say for instance, a claymore, a mine, a C4, or something like that, something throwable. Place it on the ground and immediately pick up your throwing knife. This is why I say that this loadout should be free. If you are in a position where you may have to rush it and you can't really be sure that you're going to be able to get it reliably, then what you can do is have one that's less free. Now, something that you had to rush. It wasn't just like laying there uncontested. So you'd have this one closer to your main one, because you want to be able to grab it quickly since it's going to be in a pressure situation. Whereas if you have more time, then you can grab this one. What you would do is you put your one of your primary weapons here. In this case, we were running the Owen, so that's less equipment that you'd have to pick up off the ground. So you would just switch your secondary, pick up your gun, and go. In this case here, you'd be able to switch your secondary, switch your primary, switch your lethal, and you're able to basically maximize the amount of equipment that you're able to have, knowing full well that you're going to be able to take your time, since this is going to be a, quote, free loadout. Let's get to, this is your secondary perk, this is your second perk, but say for instance you can't get your first loadout, cleanly, you can only get your second one and it's going to be rushed, then you can do the same thing, just immediately go for that second one. You also have the option of doing the fifth zone loadout. So that one, what you'd want to do is you'd want to put it in your most important spot right here. So this is going to be the like high priority one. And the reason why it's going to be there is because you want it to be the one that you grab immediately. You're able to pick it up extremely quickly. This is going to be one where you're going to put fully loaded on your guns. This would be one where you don't really have that much time to be looting, so it's going to come late in the game. Say for instance you're regaining. Now, one alternative to this is, say for instance you know that you're going to be able to get your teammate back, but your teammate may not be able to get to loadout in time. What you could do is have two primaries. Say for instance your teammate likes running an MP40, you build out an MP40 from him. Now what you're able to do is get both guns, so knowing that your teammate's going to come back, you don't want to give him a Bren or a sniper, and now he just has a sniper. So this would be regain for your teammate. I just needed to make an extra note in that if you do have a loadout that you're going to be giving towards your teammate, you could put stims on that loadout, specifically because a lot of times your teammates may not be able to go into the gas to grab a loadout. Some of the loadouts that you can get, you may need to go into the gas to get it. So stim shots allows you to be able to go in there, be able to grab the loadout for your teammate, and still have equipment for him. Okay, the next one would be a cheater class, usually a riot shield with overkill, stuns, thermites, something to be able to handle somebody who's hacking. Not as common as it used to be. Can also be used for recon spam if you're gonna do a whole bunch of recons. It's hard to guarantee that you're gonna have hard cover. However, with a riot shield, you'd be able to do so. So you can have that for your first class that you're gonna grab. Next is going to be the situation when you have a power position. So say you have two loadouts in a really strong position you can grab for your first one where you know it's not going to be something you're going to need to rotate with. Something like a heavy duty rifle, HDR, LMG, like a PKM. The equipment that you're not necessarily going to take with you, but you'll have a second loadout when you're actually getting ready to rotate. It'd have a secondary that you picked up off the ground, something that you don't necessarily need to rotate with. This could possibly be overkill, but it's something that's designed to hold down a position. But you take along with you a loadout that you can use for hardcover, that you can use for blocking entrances, and when you're ready to rotate, what you can do is grab the second one with the equipment that you're going to need and toss this one in the trash. One alternative that you can have is, say for instance, you're going to have two long-range guns. Say this one and a what else is good long-range gun right now, like I don't know, say EM2. So you got these two guns, right? What you do is, you know that an EM2 is going to be good from mid to long range. You know you have a further range a gun. So what you're going to be doing is holding down a power position, have a smoke grenade for when you are ready to rotate, and then what you do is, when you are ready to leave, you grab that second loadout. This is going to have the perks that you want. Say for instance you got tempered, you take the EM2 or whatever other gun you have your short range. So you got your short range, your medium range. Because it's already late game where you're rotating from that power position, you don't need to have the heavier gun. So throw that one away, and then now you have the rest of the equipment that you would have, plus the perks that are more particular to you actually rotating. So say for instance, if you're going to rotate, you have maybe cold-blooded to stay hidden, or combat scout. If you have the power position, you don't need that as much. Maybe amped, maybe battle hardened, or EOD. So you have perks for when you're holding the position, and you have that second loadout with you for when you're rotating. Say for instance, that second loadout you can rotate into CQB, or you can rotate into a field. So you have the two kinds here. So you have different options, because when you have a loadout with you for hardcover, you can wait for the zone to collapse to dictate what it is that you're going to grab. So you have a mid-range option here with different kinds of perks. Say for the CQB, you wanted to throw on double time. You basically have that extra loadout for hardcover, but you have it for more options when you're getting ready to rotate. Next thing I want to talk about is whenever you are in a position where you have a loadout that's in a piece of hardcover and you're playing something like Resurgence, or if you have a teammate come back from Gulag, if you have that hardcover, you want to leave the hardcover there so you can keep protecting your team, keep the position a little bit more defensible. However, when your teammate comes back, or when you come back, you already grabbed your overkill class. You can grab a restock class with a different gun, but you can bring more and more options. So say you had your overkill class, your overkill class, you have your second loadout, which was free. So now you pulled out a sniper. Now you got your perks. Now you have the guns that you had previously. Say for instance you come back again, you can have a third loadout, and so on, where you can keep grabbing equipment. Again, this is a claymore. You already had your knife, you could pick up your knife again, or you can have a smoke grenade and then re-pick up your stim that you had in the first one. And you can constantly keep grabbing fresh equipment, something like a Strela or something like that, something you can throw off equipment, just have more and more equipment that you're able to utilize, and still make the most of the loadouts that you are able to purchase. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to cover was the Underbarrel launchers. I use them a lot, but you do not have to use them at all. Say, for instance, you have a Wellgun and a Brand as your overkill class, and you're getting ready to rotate. You had the loadout as hardcover, and now you want to get out of there with your perks, your tempered, or whatever you're going to be using. You can put on a Modern Warfare AR with an Underbarrel smoke grenade, and you can use that smoke grenade. That's not going to take up any of your tacticals, any of your lethals, nothing is going to be changed. The AR can have fully loaded. You can have your smoke grenade, so you can rotate out of there, throw the smoke grenade, pick up your brand off the ground, and then continue rotating through. You can also do the same thing with snapshots and thermites, flash grenades, stun grenades. So you can utilize these Underbarrel launchers even if you don't actually intend on using these guns in the game. I hope that's given some kind of help on what you can do to get the most out of the loadouts that you have. It's better to hang on to the loadouts, use them as hardcover block entrances, use them to not force yourself into deciding what you need until the zone gives you a little bit more information on where you're going to actually be rotating. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.